if you ever want to meet a great bunch of people, hold a hemp building event. That's what happens. It seems to attract everybody like some sort of strange, magnetic, magical force.
That was totally thrilling. So I will offer you our story a little bit. My name is Emily Peyton, and I'm presenting here. It's my distinct honor to be presenting with Joseph Cincotta, who's an architect. And first I'm going to give you a little backstory of how I came to be working with Joseph Cincotta. The last time I came to a symposium, and I'm so thankful to Aya and Steve Allen for all your work, and you're my leaders. Anyway, I came to a symposium in Spain in 2011 with Tom, and there we couldn't grow hemp in Vermont. And I was an activist at the time, and so I was running for governor, and I began to work on how we can get hemp in Vermont. And one of the things that I did was to begin to initiate contracting with the government. And what that means is that we need to be using our right to contract. So I got an ad published in the paper on Earth Day, in the major paper, which essentially said that we're going to grow hemp for all these reasons, and that it was against the NAFTA code that we couldn't export what we're importing. And at the end of it, I said that we are going to go ahead and grow, and you've been notified that you're going to grow, that we're going to grow. And if you have any objections to it, then you need to publish. This is talking to the DEA and the federal government. You need to publish in this paper your objections. Otherwise, you're going to forfeit all right to prosecute us. And we put this in the paper in 2012. And before that, in Vermont, a woman named Heather Darby had done a lot of work, and she had gotten something passed which said that once the federal government approved hemp, we could go ahead and grow. So we were kind of stuck there. So after this went in the newspaper, and we did it anonymously, so they didn't know it was from Hempfully Green, from us, two things happened. The newspaper got more calls from our Senator Leahy and all these other people than they ever had, and they decided they would never publish anything anonymously again. And in 2013, the legislature passed hemp legislation in Vermont, and they passed it almost unanimously. There was only 3 naysayers, who were Republicans. And then in 2014,
Somebody's excused.
well, yeah, in 2014, and during this time, I was traveling around. Can you do the next slide, please? There's me with the last governor at a debate, and let me tell you, running for governor was brutal. It was an exercise in public shaming. But however, it's funny now. Next slide, please. So this particular block of hempcrete, I would carry everywhere. And I did a lot of random seeding of information, like going up to people just randomly, which I still do, and say, particularly people who are working in 7-Elevens, and you can tell that their intellectual capacity is not being tapped. So you go up to them and you say, did you know that Henry Ford built a car out of hemp? They say, and they just, blows their minds because they're thinking about smoking some pot later and they can't. Anyway, and they, in this way, just sort of spreading the information laterally is what I call it. I've done a lot of that, and Tom has helped me a lot. We've done a lot of tabling. Next slide, please. That was the current Secretary of Ag in Vermont. Tom and I have had a plan to build with hemp, and my position is that we have to maximize our effort. so that the most people will see it. And in the meantime, I've developed some products out of hemp, Hempfully products. A drink named Hemp, you might have seen some green glasses the other day, that we're selling at the farmer's market, and I make, hemp cookies and, all these things that we're selling. And as we're selling, we always bring some hemp cream. And so we're educating about hemp cream. So a couple years ago, people still weren't getting it, but now, this last year, when we were at the Big E, which is this very big fair, it's like the biggest one, the 5th biggest one in the United States, people were beginning to come up to us and tell us, hey, yeah, hemp green, I know about this, so it's just been phenomenal to see the exponential curve of knowledge or basic understanding just in Vermont and in our region about hemp since when we began and now. And of course, we've been learning about CBDs. I don't know what the next slide, oh, can you go back to the other one? I'm not ready for that one. We've been learning about CBDs, and we've become a believer on all the properties of cannabis. We begin to meet people who are coming to us and say, CBDs is touching pain that I've never been able to solve in any other way, or the Rick Simpson oil has cured my cancer. So while, of course, the building, the home where we can heal so much of the environment and ourselves remains our passion, we're also becoming passionate for all parts of hemp. And beyond what we're about to present when I bring over Joseph, what I want to propose and educate about is the possibility to others not in this room, like the people in Texas, the people in Florida, is the possibility of rebuilding in these zones in round structures for both their ability to stand in hurricane force winds because of the round structure and also their efficiency. So this is, okay, so that's why there is a round hempcrete house in the next slide. We can go there. And I want to get to what we have to present. What's the next slide, please? Ooh. This is what Joseph, let me say that in my thinking of the whole problem of how to share with the world hempcrete, how do we do it? If we build one house over here, somebody goes, lives in it, and not everybody knows about it. So everybody's really hot to trot about medical marijuana and cannabis. So what I have asked Joseph to design is come on up here, Joseph, you're going to take over in a second, is a store that will carry all the products that people are already excited about, whether they're our Zep or the CBD or the medical marijuana. And I'm working with a newly formed co-op in Vermont. This is the 3rd try, and this co-op is headed up by really stable individuals. I think it's going to really grow. That we come together and fill this building with products that are being made locally and pull the public in, and thereby share with them what hempcrete is and its benefits. So I'm just super excited about this design, and I'm going to get Joseph in the play because you'll see his enthusiasm and his brilliance has just been really awesome to be working with. Here you go, Joseph. This is Joseph Cincotta of LineSync Architecture.
Thanks very much. Heard the last name, and my culture tends to talk with their hands, so I'm going to stand in front of the microphone so you can hear me. Does everybody hear me in the back?
Yes.
Bring it up a little bit, maybe.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's better?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So, thank you, Emily. Being hired and being brought onto this project, my background is, our firm is very known for a lot of innovative projects. If you go to our website, you won't be disappointed, I guarantee you that. We strive hard not to have a specific style. We're really interested in making design that solves a problem. So we try to identify a problem, and like, I have an engineering background before I became an architect, and I really believe that when you solve the problem, it has its own inherent beauty. So it doesn't mean that everybody has to agree on it, but there's something wonderful and satisfying when you actually solve a problem, like a bridge solves a problem. You can't put excess weight on it, it's not a good idea. A plane solves a problem, you can't put excess weight on it, it's not a good idea. You know, the idea of solving the problem with the absolute minimum of parts. So, ask you the next slide, please. So I'm just going to go into details of what we designed and why we designed what we did. The store is going to offer eating, food and this is a terrace, both upstairs and down. The downstairs terrace for a cafe. We're showing it set in the glass railing and all that with gardens around gardens. So one of the things is we're looking for the site. We wanted to have a farm field, literally with a hemp, industrial hemp in the background, but the foreground wanted to show different types of bio plant materials and edibles, of course, in food. So there's a whole series of gardens in the front. So when you're eating, you're actually eating in the gardens that are organically created around that. And this would be on the roadside. So that's what I want to connect to people on a basic function of sustenance. Next slide. Oh, we're not going to get next slide right now.
Sorry,
so,
I just get some water.
Sounds like a good idea. We've started coming out with a form that was somewhat arc-like, and that was not intentional. It was not like, oh, let's design something that looks like an arc. But as we came on with a kind of a rectangular box, and Emily asked me to put a whole curve in front of it.
Well, at first I insisted of like 2 bumps like they had boobs, but then it was like that was too much.
Yeah, so architects get all kinds of interesting requests for the things that we design. And
he was very gracious.
So I sensed that there was an idea to create an image that looked different, that would cause you to pause. And I think that's what this whole movement is about. It's like we're heading in a certain direction that doesn't seem to be in our best interest. There's cracks appearing. And I'm not just talking about structural cracks, I'm talking about deep cracks in our ways of relating to each other. And there's a lot of confusion. There always is. I'm not saying this time is any particularly different, but what happens is when there is confusion, there's usually a course correction. And the idea of this building sort of being a part of correcting or changing the course or offering another alternative to the whole society that is now so overly medicated with opioids that it's become a huge, huge problem, and maybe rethinking more natural ways to deal with pain and more natural ways to deal with food and more natural ways to build. I definitely was drawn intuitively to a shape that sort of argued for a new course. Next one. So these are just the gardens that we have. Metaphorically, I wanted to show diversity, and I wanted to have plants that were, tomato plants that were recognizable amongst other plants. I don't like this idea of like, strawberries, cherries, tomatoes, apples, hemp. What the? Why are we upset about that one word? Why are many people upset about that one word? What is different? Did Mother Nature think differently about one of them? And so the whole us versus them, I wanted it to fall into the context of the bigger planet. So these gardens will be more showcases different possibilities. Next one, please. There's a portico share. It's my best French I can give you right now. Sort of a covered walkway and a curved parking lot. You're seeing a bit of the rooftop gardens. One of the important things, and I've had some conversations with some very talented and knowledgeable people. By the way, as an architect, I am with an engineering background and a construction background. I should add that my father was a builder and I worked alongside him most of my teenage years. I have a profound appreciation for the presenters today who are both addressing a lot of the nitty-gritty technical stuff. I don't know if it's always, I'm catching all of it. I'm probably going to have to go back and look at the slides when you put it on the web. But there's a lot of technical information that really legitimizes this quest of everybody. I've been very, as an architect who appreciates that sort of stuff, I've been very grateful to be here at the conference and learn things. Thank you. So in not doing a 2-foot overhang roof, I was certainly incurring some questions from some of you, and we're actually we're very interested in using the rooftop the way many cultures do as something that can occupy and inhabit. So we're showing a grow. This is just kind of an allegorical image of growing beds up on the top to try different things and right in your office, literally go up the spiral stairs and get it to here. Next one, please. So there's the spiral stairs. And there's a kind of the upstairs is sort of a recitation conference facility, smaller conference facility. So if you think of the downstairs as the prosaic, we're going to offer the types of goods that everybody needs. Upstairs might be a place for offices for Hempfully Green, but also a place for community to get together and confer. And so the terrace outside with the bar stools and then going up to the gardens, it's very much a part of that community.
Yes, can I add that, we're looking ahead to when marijuana legalization happens, so we would have to separate any sales of marijuana, so the upstairs would house any sales of 18 and above as well.
Right. Cool. Didn't know that, glad it works. So consilience is my best, consilience, luck. The idea that when you do something and it also works for something else, oh, that's kind of cool, so we're on a good track. This is the more obvious reference to the arc shape. Again, it really was generated by this prow, and then I started tilting it out. I really wanted to create something that was evocative of something changed. The curved parking area and sort of the outdoor conference area, the round area in the back. And here the gardens respond well to the building, I think, at the steps down. So do you see that we're describing with Hempcrete that we're going to be moving forward as that whole art metaphor, but what Joseph has done and what his whole team, he's got an incredible team of young architects, they're so inspired. And what we're going to be able to describe in this store is many of the capacities of Hempcrete, in that we can use these pastel colors, we can use curves, we can build second stories. Go to the next slide, there's some of these other features. So there's the colors.
Right, so where you see the windows are designed to fit in between the studs. So we are looking at saving money in certain ways and that came out as sort of a tribute to indigenous cultures, their kind of styles. It really evokes that, at least for me and quite a few other people. And then you see these waves that are made with the bottle systems coming through. So I just think it's a huge statement. It's not the simple BRE buildings that makes Hempcrete look like everything else. In this case, we want the public to see this and be kind of stunned and want to come in and learn about Hempcrete.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be nice if these hemp conferences were actually in hemp buildings.
The fourth one was.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah. Let's keep looking at that option. Yeah, really wanted, the building is intended to showcase some of the capabilities that are not standard and in the architecture and in the use of the materials. So the hempcrete, for us, it was very important to follow rigorously this center spacing for the frame, so that the windows didn't have to deal with headers and structural issues. So it's actually one of the engineering things that I'm thinking about. An oblique reference is the cross, which it's muted. The color, the polychrome is sort of a Navajo native indigenous coloring, but the idea of the cross is sort of a universal symbol of health. And while not being overt, I did want to have the building have some kind of association. So I do use symbology in the design to sort of, you know, I don't know how to say this. I feel like our knowledge is, our intuitive understanding of things is far greater than the words we use to describe them. So it's like we see something and we immediately respond to it on so many levels that we're not necessarily conscious of. But if we didn't do that, we'd get hit by cars when we cross streets. We do all kinds of things. So we intuitively grab things. So I don't necessarily have to spell out healthy alternative here. And I don't want to. I actually don't like it when life comes with captions. I kind of like the discovery and the sort of, I find that's more compelling. Next one, please. So we're going to go through a series of images of just the inside. This is, you know, the kind of the roadside look. You can get a better idea of the porte cochere and the vestibule entry. Next one, please. Again, just better views to understand it. These are sort of our progress sketches as before we go to final render, we sort of investigate the concept through a lot of 3D. Our firm, this is the interior, and you're looking at the entry door, and up front is this the servery for the food area. You're passing by a lot of products, and the point of sale is in the very background on the right. And you know, it's just cafe tables here, so it's pretty straightforward. Although we expect the building to be the large windows to be south-facing, we'll cite it for that. The light on the north side is very small. I obviously don't want to bring in too much, but I do find that I can triple glaze those windows, which as fixed windows very economically, and get the higher R value because they would be fixed. But I think the important thing of north light is it's not a disruptive light, and artists used to favor it almost always. The old rooftop creation studios were always north-facing clerestories. And so this would provide a very nice light that wouldn't need to be screened or sheltered. Next one, please. View from the servers.
We're spirit people.
Spirit people. The team that we have, what you can't quite make out in this, and we'll see better in the plan views, is that those rafters, the floor joists that are going across to the wood studs that are exactly lined up, they are actually open around these two-story windows. So the window appears on the left to go up through the floor. It's actually an open frame, and rather than headed off into beams and all that stuff, I just expressed it as continuous rack floor joists, and then it's an open area that doesn't get the flooring. So this is a better view. That was very good. You flipped to the next slide, exactly when I needed it. Thank you, Steve. So we're in sync. This is exactly what I was just talking about. So you can kind of see the floor joists going across the room. This is the upstairs conference area or seminar tables can be set up in various different ways. I designed some pretty badass tables. That's a technical architectural term. Some conference tables, and this would not be one of them, but this is what was readily available on our sketch stage. If you do go to our website, there's some pretty cool furniture tables that I've convinced people to build. And I'd like to see one there. But again, these large tall windows that go right upstairs and downstairs create an oral continuity with downstairs. You're going to have an awareness of that, and there's certainly on the rooms on either side, there's places to have quiet conversations if need be, but the idea of having this community buzz in this building was very important. Next one, please. Better view of those windows, how they go up and down, and you can sort of see the doors leading out to the upstairs terrace. This one is the rooftop terrace, again, just a sketch stage. Having a raised bed gardens. I'm seeing this is not for production. This is really for the kind of experimentation that happens. My grandfather, when he planted, he would try different beds and different things right near the house, and then he'd have the big row in the back.
It may very well be where we grow some hemp, because in Vermont we've had trouble with people growing hemp and people just taking plants from the fields. So we could grow the hemp for our drinks up here.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't it be wonderful that hemp is just grown everywhere, and the idea of taking it is no more interesting than taking a tomato plant from your neighbor?
Well, that becomes like that a couple of years after it starts in most places.
Yeah. All right. So just the plan. If you see the dark area, that's the building. It really was only in the past few weeks that I reshaped the outdoor terrace the way it is. We can sort of see the dotted line of the upper terrace on the left, halfway through the sort of eating deck. And it's very important to me that the flow of the building sort of, upper right is kind of service and mechanical. You got the elevator for accessibility. You have the bathroom and then a storage room and all that. And then you can sort of see immediately on your left is the point of sale, cashier, checkout for products. There's wall products. The whole idea of the flow of it as it sort of slows you down, the stairs sort of direct you towards the products and then towards the cafe. So you kind of walk through the store a little bit as you're going to get food, let's say. Next one, please. Upstairs, conference area and offices. Much better view of the open to below area in the lower bottom of the image. There's something that kind of a yin-yang image, again, not intended initially.
Well,
What?
yes, it was.
Oh, so I didn't even know that. I was like, wow. These things are cues that I think we pick up on subconsciously, whether they're there or not, verbally described with captions. Next one, please. And I guess, this is
An airplane.
Airplane view.
Yeah, airplane view.
Bird view. Just the idea of how the rooftop gardens would be. And this is really making the case for why I didn't want to have a green roof that was, sloped and mowed. I wanted to address some of the technicalities of this, but, I had two images that I thought I'd that we're going to make an experimentation, because to me empirical knowledge rules and everything else is talk. So this is kind of the cool look that you're seeing in a lot of architecture right now, which I eschew pragmatic, something simpler. So this would be a stone cap overhang that could very easily satisfy the overhang thing on the walls. This over here is a rain screen wall. By that I mean it's a breathable cavity behind the plaster and then in front of the hemp. And this is what we're going to build, because we don't really know if it's going to work, but we'll know by this time next year. And so we're building a little mock-up with the bottles in the wall, and
This is our concern, to make sure that we've seen the bottles being put into earth ships, and we think it'll make a beautiful effect. But we also know that we have a sheer wall where we're usually wanting to see an overhang to protect the hempcrete. So we're talking about that rain screen, we call rain skin, about what do we do when we get to the bottles. So we're going to do a little mock-up over the winter, and we're discussing that. Again, the form and the beauty of the form is really important to attract the attention to our building product. And what the company will want to do is to create relationships with builders and people who are able to fulfill customers' requests. I already have so many people who are chemically sensitive who are just begging to have homes built from hempcrete, and they're not in general particularly wealthy too. So that's a very sad thing, and that's a huge need and a call for us to move forward with an urgency. But people don't really respond to urgency, they respond to excitement. So that is what we're trying to do. And I do need to give a credit to that round hempcrete house that was built by Neil Decker in Star Seed, and he's working out in California, and we'll be working together to write a book about his prospects. There's one other little thing I forgot to say. Are we at the end almost?
Yeah, I was just giving my shout out to my team who made all these awesome drawings.
Okay.
If you like what you've seen, go to Vimeo and LineSync, our firm's name. There's a video of our team. You see a very diverse team, even in Vermont. We have people from India, Puerto Rico, China, but very cool, great energy, and I really couldn't stand here without all that work. So I just wanted to shout out to the people that are making it possible for me to show you something today.
Yeah, and the other thing I needed to mention was that now in Vermont, with the law that they passed, we just merely have to make a $25 registration and put out our coordinates. We don't have any limits on how much, or whether we got to pick up the volunteer plants the next year. We have probably the most open laws in the country, and our challenge, of course, is to now be able to import seed through the DEA. We still have that, but now we're just importing seed laterally and stuff. So I'm hopeful that everybody will kind of get it, that once we build this store and we are working on the model of the business so that it is the most progressive, so that we can create a consortium amongst different hemp producers, and that hempcrete can really come front and center, that the people here who are into building and building companies, that you will benefit from us building this store, because we will be directing the interest towards you. And let's see. Don't you just want to go and climb on that thing? It's just so, and of course Vermont is landlocked, so we had to do some sort of tribute to the sea. So that is, did you have one more slide?
I think this is it.
That's the end. Okay. Well, so my job now.
Getting on the roof. Thanks, everybody.
Of course, my job now is to find the financial backing and to really focus on getting this built. So thank you, everyone. We plan to do the first one in the Burlington area because we think that's where it should start.